Look at this. The season's over. The season's over. There's one champion in the room. There's a prospective champion in the room. The gaffer. We call him the gaffer. And where's the guy with the agenda? He's been writing tons of chat GBT all day. Where's Ken Dog?
He loves a little chat GTP thing, I tell you, doesn't he?
So how does he do that?
So he probably gives it command and says, "Oh, Chris is da-da-da-da," and then bang, off he goes. He gets a little,
mate.
And then you prompt it some more. It says, "Do you want this in a list form? Do you want this like this? Do you want more information?" Yeah, come on, give us one. And then you go.
Please tell me you posted the one I did of you when you was crying. The picture I turned into a video.
No, I didn't see it till late.
Which one? My God!
I didn't see it till.
I just took your picture with the Arsenal top and the make Arsenal great again.
You made it.
I made it on video. I put the prompt. I said, make the person in the picture start crying, like wailing. It was some website. But how does all these other ones happen? How's the one of me and Cell? How did that happen?
Yeah, what that Ken Dog? Was that you? Or Ken
Dog? Yeah, no, that's Ken. How does he do these things? People tell us how.
He prompts it in. He's put it in the chat. You post a picture and you leave a prompt. You say, make these two pictures.
Yeah, but what site? Because I don't like that.
Chat, bruv. What you mean? What site? It's not a site.
That's not Chat GBT, bro.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, no, it isn't.
Yes, it is. That's why he runs out of credit. That's why you can only do so many a day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You on Chat GBT.
Do it now. Get that same picture and give it a prompt, and it'll do that. We'll do it for you.
No, he must be on Gemini. He must be on Google. Because there's video one. Nowadays, what's scary? The new Google
was that one of you and Cell? Was that one of you and Cell a video one?
No, but what I'm saying is the new Google one, Google VO3. Yeah. You'll be able to say, "Oh, make this look like a TikTok video." Imagine AG. You'd go, "All right, make it look like a TikTok live of AG with Elvis," and it could fucking do it, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, mad.
When it gets better and it'll be pitch perfect, it'll be sick.
Well, it's scary.
It's scary at the same time.
It's going to start wars.
Yeah, because it's in the hands of everyone. Everyone's got access to it. That's what it needs to be. That needs to stop.
But I mean, the main thing today, I'm just waiting to find out when Ange sadly is going to be fired. I feel like how they've done it's terrible.
Why is it terrible?
Well, because you're going to sack him at the end of the season after the last game.
No, let him go on holiday. Let him go on holiday. Let him serenade. Let him have a good time. And then when he gets back, bang.
But he ain't worried if he goes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's left with a cup. But the record books also say 22 losses, which is a record.
He ain't going to worry about that.
Without getting relegated, mental.
The one thing he's done, he brought a belief to the fan base. The fan base. Oh my God, we can win.
That's it though. But that's it though. It's only the fan base. That's not reality. The fan base create a full sense of promise. Because if you look last year, and we look at Man United, who won the FA Cup against Man City, got gassed, said they had a better season than Arsenal because that's all they were looking at.
Yeah,
and they extended my man's contract. Knowing I knew as a football thicko, because I've got receipts and I've stated it's going to be a long season, it's going to be a long 3 years. Look, I'm a football thicko and I've got it right. So that's the same with
How are you a football thicko now? I thought you were the oracle.
Yeah, but I'm football thicko. I'm everybody hates Chris. I'm football thicko.
But listen, you're the gaffer. That's why you get the hate.
But listen. I said, this is what's going to happen to Spurs. If you give Ange time or another contract, it's only going to end in tears, bruv. Because
he might do.
Before last season, your last 7 games, you lost 5 out of 7.
Right.
And that was with a full strength team. So you was going into the new season already on bad form, yeah? The manager's like, okay, it's a clean slate. So everyone forgets that. But you need to look deeper. So I've looked into it and seen that you've lost 5 out of 7 in the last games of the season. Then the new season starts. Then the new season starts and you lose 22 games on top of that 7. You lost 10 games in the calendar year of 2024 in the league alone.
Yeah, but it's because what he's done. Like, we don't do these things. We'd be crying if we won the Carabao Cup. To win the Europa League, regardless of where it is now, regardless how people look at it, we won it, and we won it under his stewardship, the way he said we're going to win the second season, he said, I gave up on the league.
To be honest, he was playing crap teams.
We can go back over that all day.
But no, let's not be over it. That's a
well,
fact.
Frankfurt's in the Champions League through league. They came third.
Who?
And we beat them.
Say again?
Frankfurt in Germany. They got to the Champions League for next season through merit. They got third in their league. Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen, then Frankfurt. And we beat them comfortably in their own ground. I'd say it's more comfortable than the semi-final. That was the best performance.
As Wenger and Jose both said, the power of the Premier League is so strong that they just whitewash all the other teams in Europe, mainly apart from the big ones like the Spanish teams or like. Maybe. Well, that's how it is, though.
But the thing that I find now is that I said straight after the final, and this is me on a high. You know what I mean?
Before the final, you said sack him.
And I said it after. Look at the video where I sent you, and I said, "Thank you, Ange. Thank you, for what you've done. This is the perfect way to say goodbye." And then we got to the parade, and I was like, "This is actually really special." And then the way he made us believe that.
Listen, Taylor, you're getting caught.
Yeah, I said my heart is over my head, or whatever way it is, the one that's more emotional.
Heart speaking over your head.
My heart speaking over my head. I know that. And
that's why I said speak in reality. The reality is you lost 10 games in 2004. You've lost 22 games over the whole season, which is a record for Spurs.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know what I mean? You can't.
My thing is that there's two things at play here. If you're then going to change him, which is totally understand. There's reasons. I get it. It's not like he's come sixth or even 10th. He didn't do well. But he won the cup. But if you are going to change him, you've got to change him with somebody. If you want it, this is the thing. If Tottenham have grand ambitions to be back in that mix of 5 to 7, 8 teams that could get that 4th place, 5th place maybe in Europe, in the Champions League, right? You've got to get a manager of some pedigree who's going to want to take you on. I don't believe Tottenham care about that much. Mr. Levy,
how can you say that again in the same breath? Bruv, do you not think before you speak? Because in the same breath, you just said that Spurs will now need to go and get a manager of pedigree. One, Ange has no pedigree. Two, you had 2 managers of.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you're going to replace him, I'm saying you're going to replace him. But I'm saying if you're going to replace him, this is what I mean. If you're going to replace him because you're in the Champions League and you want to make sure that next year's never like this.
No, it's not. It's not about being. It's about not losing 22 league. At the start of the season,
this is what I was about to say.
The remit for Spurs. And probably for Big Andrew, when he sat down with Daniel, was we need to make top 5 and win any trophy.
And he done that in both. He did it. He didn't do that in both.
No, he didn't do that in both because he finished 17th.
But he got to the Champions League. Which what?
No. You see, you're missing the point here because you think it's just about this.
No, I get the point, but I'm saying you've got to look at it logically.
No,
if I'm playing a game, if I'm playing goal tonight, I've hit all the objectives.
Here's logically. No, you haven't. Here's logically. He said you need to finish top 5 and win a trophy. Not finish 17th and win a trophy. Finish top 5 and win a trophy.
All right. Well, then
because my point because listen, Newcastle finished 5th.
Yeah.
Their prize money was for finishing 5th.
162
million. Do you know what Spurs was?
We got 120.
Come on, bruv. You think so? Last year you finished 5th. You got 162 million. Finishing 5th and winning this trophy, that's what they want. Because not only does it come with unbelievable PR, it comes with great money. Right now, you've got good PR.
Okay, so my point is that sometimes, and I agree, but this goes back to all the times we spoke before. As a fan, we don't care about that, and understandable. We should care about it a little bit, but really, we don't know what they've got, what they have got, what they're going to spend, what they're not going to do.
When the club ends up like Man United, you'd care about it.
Of course, but this is my point, that they are never going to throw money at the situation like Man United did and have done for 10 years, 12 years. They just want to steady the ship. They are a smarter looking Mike Ashley. Daniel Levy's a smarter looking Mike Ashley. Always has been. He's quite happy to stable the ship. And look, if he wants that, and then he'll accept that, especially they've won this now. His argument is his argument. I still think he's upset. I think he's happy that you've won the trophy and it's saved a season
But it's also not just the season. Forget the season. It saved the club, bruv.
Yeah,
you see
but
right
that's
now,
insane.
Man United have got Man United are down 10%. I think that's the same. We're slashing 10% of what we give you because you're not in Europe. That could be Spurs.
But what I'm saying is now the names that they're talking about aren't like, you know, there's the talk about the Inter manager, which I'm not really keen on.
Simeone.
And Xavi.
Inzaghi, sorry.
Yeah, Inzaghi. Because he played a defensive style again, and I'm not sure we've got the like unless we are going to be really solid at the back. I think we've got the two centre halves that could probably do
Thomas Frank favourite?
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying to you. Thomas Frank last year, 16th in the league, bro.
Who's he managed?
Brentford.
Oh,
but
who's
they
Brentford,
had.
bro? Who the heck is Brentford? They had no Ivan Toney either.
Right.
Who's Brentford, bruv? Come on, man. Have some respect.
But my point is, I'm respecting him, and I wouldn't be disappointed in, and I'm not meaning that. My point is at the end of the day, yeah, all right, they're Brentford, but now people are saying, well, Tottenham, what God-given right have you got to be back up the table? Like, because of the players.
Furthermore, you said last year. This year they finished 10th.
No, yeah, the season before. Sorry, when we came fifth,
why
they came
that though? Look at this season though. They finished 10th.
because I'm counting. Yeah, so yeah, better. But what I'm saying is that he's a manager. And this is my point. He's a manager that will flitter and kind of do all right. And if
how do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know he's not like like players? They got to start somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
Like you got Big Andrew's got no CV. He had Celtic only, and you're gassing, and you're going to tell me a man in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, they just needed that Tottenham was in a bad way. I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'm saying at the end of the day, do we look at it and go, oh, right, so there's going to be a fast improvement over Ange Postecoglou? You know, because at the end of the day, Ange came fifth in the first season. All right, I don't disagree that last month and then following on what's been, but he did come fifth, and he was very close to coming fourth. And it was only that hard run of games and three of them away from home in the end of the season that done us. And like, yeah, I feel really, Frank, I think would be the best of the bunch if they're going to choose that kind of manager. But I'm like, it's not going, oh, we're Tottenham, we're Champions League now, we're looking to go forward. It just says, yeah, like we're Tottenham. Like, if anything tells a club where they stand, I think it's here. Because if you keep this manager now, you're keeping him on emotion, and you're keeping him because he's won something, and kind of everyone gets it. You know, we know where we are, we know what we're doing. If you sack him, then you're doing it because you think you've got to go out and get someone better. You've got to you've got to go and get someone that's at the top because you're basically setting a marker for the club. We're like, because if we're just Tottenham, and if that's what if that's what they're happy with, like good revenue, the club makes a lot of money, the stadium, then Andrew's not going to get us relegated. I'm not saying he's going to get us fourth, fifth, but I'm telling you, like I see.
How do you know he won't get you relegated?
I just think that he wouldn't. I just don't believe that we would. I think we, as hard and as easy as it is to say, last year we were depleted so bad. Like I saw a tweet today of the list that Sky Sports were doing of players that were out, and I'm like,
but I just said to you before the season had started. So before you lost 22 games, your last 7 games, you had lost 5 games.
Agreed, but say who those 5 teams were: Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Liverpool.
So all teams you're meant to be competing against.
Yeah, and we lost 3 of them away from home. And like, I'm not giving an excuse for that. But if you even said Man United or even said Arsenal, you lose 5 games this season. Who would you accept if you had to? You've got to accept the 5 games. Who is it that you'd rather say, okay, yeah, I bet that was fair game to losing to against who? You wouldn't want to lose to Ipswich, Leicester's, and that kind of. You know, if you lose to Man City, you lose to Liverpool.
But you was losing to Wolves at home 2-1.
Yeah, but it wasn't good enough. That last part wasn't good enough.
You was losing to West Ham at home 2-1.
Yeah.
You was losing to Aston Villa 2-1 at home.
That was over the season, though.
I know. This is for the season, though. You're losing a lot of games at home.
Yeah, we lost to West Ham in that November-December period. We just went off the rails when he lost the 2 centre halves. and we got the left back out. Yeah, we lost players again. But my point is, I don't look at this team and I don't look at this manager currently and go, well, you know what? It's going to be a really dog shit season. And I feel like if you do want someone like Thomas Frank, I think you could go and get Thomas Frank in November, December. I don't think they're going to spend loads of money.
Can I say you lost? Can I say something? You've lost.
Go on.
You've lost 34 fogging games.
60. Bro. Yeah. Look, there's
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then look, listen, I came on here and I said, thank you, Ange. Once you won, we could say goodbye and all that. My heart is ruling my head at the moment because I think the crest and the way that we went on was beautiful. But I also am doing it now because I don't see that they've got a plan. They've not got a plan. And that's what happens at this point. Chris, I know the club. I know how the chairman works because if you you would know your chairman and how they work. You know, if they had sat at their sleeve, they would have said thank you to Ange on the Monday morning and it would have been gone. They would have had a nice, perfectly written out statement. They don't know what they're doing. So they don't know whether to keep him because they're worried about the backlash. If you knew you had Xavi, the Barcelona, coming in, right? If you knew you had him, you would write an epic, beautifully written statement for Ange and you would cut ties and let him go on holiday and then find a job. At the moment, he's in Greece. He don't know what's happening. He don't know where it is. We don't know what's happening. People were looking on Twitter, oh, he's going to get fired. He's not going to get fired. That's poor. That's poor for the club. A club that's just won its first trophy in how long? It's cried out for trophies. It wins one, and then it don't know what to do, whether to sack the manager or not. It's just shit. Ten Hag, I got why they kept Ten Hag. Whether now in hindsight, it's terrible. But at the end of the day,
how can you say that when you could see it wasn't going nowhere?
At the time, though, no, but you don't. You go and beat Man City, and you also go right. You know, he's had a bit of a rough time. If you back him, let's see how it goes. To be fair, the other guy's come in and he's not done better. He's gone down. Like so, you can't say, oh, well, it's Ten Hag. You know, it's all Ten Hag. This manager's come in. He's playing a system. He knows his players can't play that system, yet he's playing it. Like that's what Andrew's doing, and everyone's knocking him when he was playing crazy.
To be fair, maybe you're right on a Ten Hag bit there.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, and Tom said it when they won the FA Cup. He said, "You know what? Keep Ten Hag. Let's see what we can go on." And look, it was a gamble, and sometimes, and I admire that Man United took the gamble. They, whether it's turned out right or wrong for them, they backed him. They bought his players. Well, at the end of the day,
I would have admired him if they'd sacked him on the spot, bruv.
Should have sacked him. Should never have stuck with him.
But at the end of the day, if you've won the 2 domestic cups in 2 years and you think, well, you know, the fans are behind him.
Lee Di Matteo won the Champions League. He was shy.
Yeah, but we all knew what was going on there. John Terry was the manager, bro. Look at the flipping final, the tracksuit and whatever. Like, I'm saying is
in this country, it's frowned upon basically to sack someone after they won a trophy because of how the media carry on.
Look, Bobby Robson at Barcelona, bro. He won 3 cups.
Yeah, they had to go
in the 1 year. He comes second in La Liga, and he had to go.
Said, you got to go because we're not a cup team.
He won the European trophy he was in.
Yeah,
he's won, and this was before Barcelona was Barcelona.
No, they've always been Barcelona. You just was uneducated, bruv. That's why I got
this is when we watch it.
Yeah, but also you look at things like what's his relationship like with the players, what they like with the media, like and Ten Hag.
They love it.
Losing players left, right, and centre. Yeah,
okay, I can't argue with that. But my point is, the players at Spurs like Ange Postecoglou.
He's a likeable
fan, like Ange Postecoglou by and large, right? So what I'm saying is I'm all for saying goodbye to him, but have a plan. Don't sack him and then think, oh, well, is it going to be Frank? Is it going to be Marco Silva? Is it going to be the Bournemouth fella? Are we going to go and get a Champions League winner? What could have been a Champions League winner in Inzaghi?
Well, you got options, Lee. You got options now. You're in the Champions League, baby. You're in the time now, boy.
It's the 2nd of June. So you got to set this one, acquire one. Then you've got to get your players in. Then you've got to go on tour. Then you've got to Super Cup.
Would you rather go into this new season with Ange spending $250, yeah? And then
but they won't give him that money. No,
you're going to spend money, bruv. You're going to spend money. Listen, take it from me. You were going to spend.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend. But I'll tell you this.
Spent more, you know, Ange spent more than Arteta in the last 2 seasons.
Apparently
So
so.
you spent money.
If
So
I
you
was
spent
Daniel
money.
Levy, and I know how tight a ship I've got, and I'm worried about, I don't know exactly what I want to do, and I don't know if Andrew's the right person. I will use this massive scouting network on these directors of football that they keep paying a lot of money for, Paratici, Joey Lang, or whatever you know. I would get them. I'll say, find me players on a decent budget. I'll, like, look at the Leroy Zanes on freeze and see what we can get. Find the players. We'll give them to Ange, and we'll give them till Christmas.
I would never do that. I would
Tell them then
never
go
do
to
that.
Spain.
Ange,
But I don't.
Ange,
But I don't.
Ange,
But
Ange, can
they
I just
don't
say
have
though?
the
No, because
ambition to
it's
go
my point
further.
though. Ange is not like a 19-year-old midfielder who's going to learn in the next couple of years how to play ball. He's an
Right.
old man. He's a coach who's been managing in Japan, Australia, Scotland. He's managed in the lower leagues. He's come to England. He's tried to play the same style of football as he's played in those countries. He
Right.
hasn't got. I said this a year ago. He hasn't got a plan B.
He
He
did say
hasn't
Right.
it.
got. He hasn't got.
He
He
said it. I
hasn't
remember
got
you
the
saying it because
ability
I
to
brought it up
play
to
a
him.
different style of football and change things up. So, how is he going to turn Spurs into someone who can now compete for the top four consistently when he hasn't got that in his locker? He's proved in his career he's not got that in his locker. He's an attacking style of manager. He's
Okay.
not got the nuance of someone like a Thomas Frank. Or I'd start from scratch, bring a young guy in who's got someone like an Amarim, young buck who's
Now,
got a bit of a ambition, bit of tactical
okay.
nous, who might make some mistakes, but in the long run, Spurs can't be like. Look at the season United have had. The only reason Amarim's not going is because he came in halfway through the season. If he'd
So
been
my
in as
point,
long as
Tom.
Ange, there's no way he'd be able to stay any longer.
Okay.
No
But
way
So
can you take a
my
team
point.
like
but
United to
I,
like 16, 17 and then have
in your
have
second
like
season,
win a
Ken Dog,
cup and then
all right,
stay.
so
It's mad.
I
Ken Dog
don't
in your
disagree
second
with
season
anything
as
you're
well.
saying. I don't disagree with what
Really?
you're saying, Tom. I don't disagree with what you're saying. My point is then is that if if you're saying bring in a young upstart or all that, I don't think that's a bad idea. If they've got the plan to do it, I'm all for it. If they see in this project, which they never see through, it was only Pochettino they saw through because they couldn't get rid of him. But my point is, if you want to do that, have the plan. I don't. They don't have a plan, and that's why I'm more prone or more open to having Ange stay for the time being and
But
see
we
how we
don't
go.
know what
And I tell you
Levy's
why.
got planned, Lee.
Well, bro, I'll tell you why I didn't know what Levy got planned because Levy doesn't care. He's ruthless. And if he had the plan, he would be gone on Monday. You wouldn't
But I
let the
think,
manager go on Monday. Why
but
would
Lee,
you let
I
the
think
manager go on Monday?
Spurs fans cause half the problem here. Because
Why is that?
if you're more demanding of your club and
Mm,
stop treating them like the Spurs of 1995 and treat them
mm,
like the Spurs of 2025, where you've got the best
mm.
stadium in the world, more
Right?
money, you spent more money than most
The
people.
Wolford
I'm not
Street
including Man
Stadium,
United
Ken
in
Dog.
that, but you spent a load of
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
I'd be rioting outside the stadium, like sort us out. I don't want this upstart managing this club anymore. I want a young guy who's got some ideas. He ain't good enough for us, clearly. Amazing, give him a massive beautiful speech on the way out because he's won Spurs a trophy.
Agreed.
Like
Yeah.
he leads massive credit for that. But Spurs fans need to realise that Spurs aren't the Spurs of 95, 90, 96 anymore. This is a team that should be competing for the Premier League every year and not accepting any less from
Well,
them.
Wow.
let me say this as well.
Wow.
I'll say that the only way I would disagree with you on that is that I know that they spend money, but they spend money on what they think is long-term prospect that they're going to get miles out of it. They buy a car or 20,000 miles and they want to run it to 100. They don't buy players with big wage packets, and so that is why they don't get over the line any further. They
What?
also
Because of the wage packet? What nonsense is
they
that?
don't spend wages on players, bro,
What's
and that's
wages
where
got to do with a player's ability?
bro. So my point is at the end of the day a transfer fee between two clubs is probably the easiest bit to agree.
So
The
you're
personal
telling me
terms
don't
of the
start
player.
talking like an Arsenal fan in 2008. So you're telling me right now
But
that
you
if
know he
look,
doesn't
look
pay
so,
that
no,
wages.
no,
Nicky Van de Ven's on 40 grand a week, bro.
Kai Havertz is on 275. You was the
I
first
know.
person to
We
say
spoke about
and
this.
you was laughing your head
No,
off.
we
Yeah?
looked at
Remember?
this.
No, do you remember?
No,
Remember when
we
you was
spoke
laughing?
about this on
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
We
You,
spoke
and you
about
was
this,
laughing your head off.
right?
Lee Carrier was laughing his head off.
But I said this to you.
Yeah, but hold on. When you was laughing your head off at how much Havertz was getting a week here. So you're trying to tell me, because you're now equating wages to ability. So you're trying to tell me now if Spurs had Kai Havertz, that would do you good.
I'd have him. Yeah, I'd have him. I'll take him. My point is though, to get these players, and
Would Kai Havertz into Man
this.
United, Ken Dog?
Yeah, he is.
No, I don't think he would. I don't
Fair enough.
think he would.
Let me
and
say,
he's getting paid $275 a week. So you're trying to tell me that because
Chris, this is the whole point. But the whole point is right that Spurs fans are like accepting of this situation.
We're not accepting of it though, Tom. Have you not seen what's happened this season?
You should be writing in the streets about what that guy's doing to your club, man.
Tom, have you seen our podcast, the Spurs podcast? We've had 3 people that run the Levy Out, In It Out group on our podcast, and what they've been doing all season.
Do you know for doing that though? Do you know how good of a job Daniel Levy's actually doing at Spurs?
Yeah, he's a businessman. But this is what I'm saying. We're going around in houses, though, lads.
Behind you, but look at him behind you. Look at that.
Lads, we're going around in circles because I've never disputed what he's done as a businessman.
No, but you're saying Levy, you don't think he spends enough money? He does spend enough money. He spends what you earn. You only, like I said,
so there's a level.
You spend a lot of money on players, man.
Yeah, but Tom, you know how the game works, bro. If you both know how the game works. I can give Archie, I can give 40 million here, 30 million here, 20 million there. It all adds up. It's all transfer fees. I get it. But all those players are coming in. Archie Gray on 30 grand. Lucas Bergvall, 20 grand.
I might look a fool saying this because I haven't done my background.
Have a look, Tom.
But what about teams like Aston Villa? What about teams like
Have you
Aston Villa?
seen? Tom, so I can give you the answer to that. Tom, shall I give you the answer to that? Tom, so I'll tell you. Tom, so I'll tell you this. Right? So there's a ratio between your wages and your income, right? Villa took the biggest gamble, and the difference between them and their wages and their income, the difference, and they get 3%. 3%.
No, but that's
the biggest goal.
That, though, because is your wage bill bigger than Villa's?
No.
You got a smaller wage bill than Villa.
Yeah. Check it.
Let's do some background checks. Chris, get on Chris,
check.
Mate, statistician. The sage rests, and we'll consider what you just said.
Check.
Let's see where Spurs come in the league table in terms of their wage bill, Chris.
It's 16th.
All right, it's not 16th though, is it?
I didn't say it was 16th.
No, but they should be doing a lot better with what they've got.
Yeah, but we have a lot of players out, man. You do know that. Come on, bruv. You're not silly.
Yeah, but I said that a few years
ago. I think.
Hold on. So Villa have a higher wage bill than Spurs, yeah?
Yeah, it's 122 million.
But they're 6th and you're 7th, but Newcastle are 9th.
Yeah, Newcastle can't lock them, but at the end of the day, can't lock them, no. And what Eddie Howe's done is unbelievable.
West Ham at 8th.
You tell Spurs they're getting Eddie Howe tomorrow, they'd love it. But we're not getting Eddie Howe tomorrow. And my point is, all I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, Tottenham Hotspur put a price on what they do. So at the end of it, we know when we were at the top or at our pinnacle under Pochettino, he had a limit, right? They didn't go.
You're chatting shite, by the way, with this wage bill. You're actually chatting shite because the team that just won the league this season, had the 5th highest wage bill. They just won the league.
Yeah, that's why it's great job for Slot and Liverpool. But my point is that it
can be done
when you're that close. This is why I admire Arsenal. They were 8th. They went. We don't want to be 8th anymore. So they bought, and they bought in the right players to move up to 2nd. Now people can laugh, and we're going to give stick to a team who comes 2nd in a row. But at the end of the day, each year they've gone, we need to do more to get there. What do we need to do? So they've gone, right, we need a centre midfield. We're going to get this Subamendi. We need a forward. We're going to get Sesko or Garkira, whatever his name is. They want to do it, right? And they will pay both the fee and the wages. Manchester United, when things weren't going so well, they said, right, we'll get in the players that either the manager wants or the scouting network has seen, and they did it. Whether they were the right players or the wrong players, that's a different story, but they've done it. Spurs, they had the guy who scored the 3rd goal for PSG at the training ground last season ready to go, and they hassled on basic wages, now a Champions League winner for Paris Saint-Germain, going to smash it, and everyone's screaming over him.
Yeah, but do you know why though? Do you know why you had the overly? Do you know why though?
They got Bergvall. because they got Bergvall for 20 grand a week, and this guy wanted loads.
You see when Arsenal just built the Emirates, or was going through that whole Emirates debacle.
Yeah, you got a incredible business.
We missed out on so many players because we couldn't afford 1 more million because the banks ain't allowing that. And that's the same with that.
You had the world-class manager.
You know, when Man United have to go and build their new stadium, they're going to have to. Everyone has to do it. It's hard to build a stadium, Lee. It's not easy.
I know all of this.
Arsenal built a new stadium off the back of winning trophies. Man United are going to do it off their legacy. Spurs done it off a whim of finishing second twice in 10 years.
No, because they wanted to do this since 2006 because there was revenue with the fans and they knew what they could get.
Yeah, everyone's trying to catch up with it.
This is great business from Levy. This is a great business
exactly,
from Levy.
That's what I'm saying. He spends adequately.
But I've said he's the best businessman there, but as a football chairman, he isn't.
You know what? I blame the fans for your impatience. Because when you had a manager that was fifth or whatever it was, 4 points off fourth, you didn't like his style of football. You didn't like his tone of voice when he said, this club is just full of losers. Do you know what I mean? And then there's the other manager that came in afterwards that got you into a final and you sacked him 3 days before a final. Like, come on, man. It's the fans impatient.
So if we kept Conte there, so if we kept Conte, what was Conte missing
top four
from the team? Yeah, so okay, I'm not going to dispute it, but
the irony that is,
what did Conte need?
We never would have won Europa League because it would have kept you in the Champions League. That's the irony of it.
Okay, so let me say, well, he lost to a basic Milan team in the knockouts, and we lost 1-0.
What basic?
Let me just say, I'm just saying, I'm coming back.
Because lost 22 games, you can't come back.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. I'll ask you this.
No comeback.
Look, I'm not. I'm asking you the question. Conte, if he stays at Tottenham, and he called out Daniel Levy. That's who he called out. He called out Daniel Levy in that press conference, right? What did he need from Daniel Levy to get us to be a top 4 team or to even be better and win things, big things? What did he need?
He wanted more money.
Right. Okay. So that's we're both agreeing.
The irony is 2 years later, he goes and gives Big Ange 500 million in 2 seasons. Antonio was crying.
Yeah, that is poor.
Right, but okay. So let me. But you're saying it as if
because you now have got the man that you want because he's going to play the Spurs way. Because Espirito Santos, what kind of football is this? Well, look what he just did with Forest, bruv. Like you've gone through 3 good managers because of the fans put so much pressure.
No,
you was outside with your little blue and white bombs.
So who got? So we got the fans got Conte fired, did they?
No, you put pressure, the pressure of that and his mouth, and then my man said, "You know what?
Why did he say it though, Chris? Why did he say that? He worked. He did cuss the fans. He didn't cuss the fans. Didn't say nothing about the fans. Conte.
Big Ange did though.
Yeah, but I'm telling you about Conte. We're talking about Conte. I'm saying that he called out the chairman and he said this club. And he's not the last one. Jose just done it as well when he gave his little slide dig about Mr. Levy getting the millions, right? Why are 2 of the greatest ever football managers or greats of the modern game, in the modern era or the latest generation of games, saying about the chairman? Because they know what they're going to get from the chairman. They're going to get players, and they're going to get players that have come on 30, 40 millions. You add those up, it adds up a big fee. I'm not disputing that. But he will get the Bergvalls at 20 grand for 6-year contracts rather than your lad at PSG now because he wanted 9 grand because the team knew what he was all about. And that's what I'm saying. I don't disagree that we spend money, but it's all relevant money. And also, being a great businessman with this stadium, Chris, the loan he got out, he was praying. He was doing an Indian rain dance for COVID because the loan he got, well, that is a government-funded loan through COVID with a 0.02% interest payment back. So you're basically getting the money. It's like when you buy a sofa from DFS and you just pay it over years.
That's with the pretense of you being in Europe still.
Bro, he'll get Beyonce to pay for that. He'll get Kendrick to pay for that.
I'll tell you this.
U2 to pay for that.
Ever got relegated? Because you know it's a possibility that Spurs and United, to be fair, could be in a relegation.
Yeah, just expect more NFL games, bro. Just expect more NFL, more Beyonce. They're not stupid. These are why these guys have paid big money because he's not stupid. He took a loan out. He took a loan out that would help an area and the government wanted to give because it would help, therefore, regenerate areas when things were going to get better on a very, very, very low interest, almost 0%. And he's laughing because now he pays that back. I think it's a 50 to 100-year payment plan, right? Which, therefore, if you divide what he owes against that, it's probably about 2 to 5 million a year, right? And those,
Shrewd. But they need to play some better
amazing,
football
though.
next year in that stadium.
All right, okay, right. So look, here we go. We're changing the fucking game again.
They
We're
need to
changing
just
the
play
game.
some better football. They need to
All
sort
right.
out whatever's constantly
So do
going on over
United.
there.
So do United, don't they?
Oh, so do mate, 100%. And
He's been playing
Amarim's got a chance now.
your manager's been playing a back three, knowing he hasn't got the player to play a back three.
Yeah, I love
He
it.
wants to.
I love it. I
You
love
love it.
that he's sticking with what he
And what if
knows
he
he
can't
needs to do
afford
to get
players?
into
He's got to do that again.
and
Then.
he's going to bring in the players. He's going to be ruthless this summer.
With how much
And that's
money,
why
though?
next year, who knows what's going to happen, but he's sticking with a plan. He's got a tactical plan that's worked where he's played other teams. Once he gets the
in
right men into
Portugal.
those positions, and all the others who've been used to playing that way now and getting used
So
to
my
it,
question is,
don't have to adapt again.
how much have you got to spend? How much have you got to spend, and where are you going to find them?
Oh, hold on. We've answered that question as well. Let me add to that question. Ken Dog, you just said about players that are used to playing this system under not Bruno. What's my name? Amarin already, yeah? But he's getting rid of Bruno, the main talisman.
Potentially, maybe.
Rasmus Højlund needs to go because he's not good enough. There's about 6 players already.
Rasmus Højlund doesn't need to go.
Ken Dog.
Do you want me to answer that?
It...
So first of all, we don't know if Fernandes is going. If he does, to turn
but that's
down
where I think
100
you're getting the
million
money from, Ken Dog. That's 100 million. That's
100
fantastic.
million, man.
You have to take that, bro.
And we need to rebuild our squad.
How old is he,
so
Ken
I think
Dog?
that's
How old is he
probably
now?
30.
You have to take that. That's a
Rasmus
Højlund,
can I just say, Rasmus Højlund is 21, man. So the pressure that's been put on that kid to be the star striker at Man United, he needs to be a backup player that learns his trade over the next couple of years and gets some game time. But we put way too much pressure on him. So to stick with his formation is the right thing to do, I think.
Who are the big names coming in to restore Man United? And how much have you got to spend?
So Branthwaite's been linked with us as one of our
How much is that? Yeah, how much is that?
Euro. I don't know how much that's going to cost. He's probably going to be 40 million.
And how much? You've got about 100 million, I think, if you don't sell Fernandes.
No, we're going to be selling. We're going to be. There's a clear out this summer. There's going to be a few.
Who's getting cleared out, Ken Dog? All these players that are used to the system.
You know what it's remind you of?
Anthony will be,
when Gareth said to David Brent, "What you gone days?" He goes, "Yeah, I've been around, boys. I've been around."
Oh, we got money. We got money. Oh, what to spend? Yeah, we got big money. Yeah, don't you worry, boy. Oh yeah. We are going to be hopefully getting either. I don't think Gyökeres will come to us, but we're linked with him obviously up front. We will link with Delap.
Oh no, you got Cunha. You got Cunha. You got no. He's got Chelsea. You got Cunha.
We've got Cunha. Is Delap gone?
Yeah.
I don't know who we're going to
get.
He's
right out of the business.
Man United. The problem at Manchester United, we get linked with everyone every summer, so you don't actually.
Ken Dog, I hear Ronaldinho might be coming. I hear Ronaldinho.
I'll take him.
Right, well, let's reconvene next week and see where the transfer
as soon as I get a chance to talk about my team, he starts laughing.
He spoke about Spurs for a good 30 minutes.
Well, I didn't know Tom was coming on.
Welcome to the Elite Terrier podcast.
I'll let you two chat. I'll be back next week. You two carry on.
I've got to go shopping. My missus is going to be giving birth any minute. I've got to go. Get some
love. Send in love. Send in love. Take care. Bye-bye.